I used mental alchemy with modern day techniques to get recognized and famous in the whole country. 20 million views on TikTok, posted on many platforms, millions of views. 1 in 4 people in Kenya know me. In Nairobi, it's maybe 1 in 3 young people, they know me. That's a lot of people. Now, how did I do this? I'm gonna explain how I used mental alchemy. From reading, I've read so many occult texts. I read so much shit at that period of my time. Everything you could ever believe, or even all religions. Whatever. So I found a link in mental alchemy and in the law of what is within is without. I get to understand that what is in your mind is your reality. That's why it's called the universe, not a us-niverse, universe. And if you look at your TikTok page and you see, instead of 200 views, you see 200 million views, then you will have 200 million views. But wait, I got it, and I did it that way. And I'll explain you how I overcame that, because it's so difficult. It's so difficult to see something and believe something else. You have to be very talented. They used many years of training in ancient mental alchemy to do this. But I found a way to do it easily, okay? With technology, you can basically capture a moment on your phone. You capture a moment and you write a caption on it. Now, if you see that, your critical mind can still tell you, well, that's not true. That's correct, but I found a way to bypass the conscious mind when reading about hypnosis. They call it bypassing the critical factor, okay? You have your conscious mind, I tell you your pig, you'll say no. But if I distract your conscious mind, you're looking at your finger and you're all in a trance of hypnosis, your conscious mind is occupied, and you look at my finger and I speak to you and I tell you you're a pig, then you most likely then it will go into your unconscious mind. Now, the unconscious is absurdly incredible. Most of you guys won't believe it because you're not that abstract. But the conscious mind, whatever goes into the unconscious mind, you'll basically manifest in reality. So, what you do with these images is you put them after each other, okay? And you give 0.1 second to every image, so they flip super fast. Are you fast enough to read the text? You're not at all. Well, what happens then? You bypass the critical factor. You didn't see it, but you know what saw it? Your unconscious. Your unconscious sees everything. That's why, they've used this since the Cold War in manipulation and hypnosis and in mind brainwashing people, flipping images, okay? Now you can use this to change your frequency and you'll attract what you are, okay? When I first discovered this, I was like, that's interesting. I did it, and I got famous in a whole fucking country. How many people do you know that did that? And I'm not even interested in fame anymore. I'm stopped doing it. I don't want to do it. I don't want views anymore. And that's another thing. There's so many tricks to it consciously. You gotta not want the thing and so on. Now, I can teach this if you have a business or something. I can teach this for you, but you'll have to pay me like 50,000 Kenyan shillings, maybe 100,000, something like that. But it will elevate you insanely. But I also have to warn you, because I also feel bad. There's a bad element to it, okay? When something new comes, let's say a part of you becomes world famous or world rich, then something old has to die. That's just how it works, okay? You change your frequency. Now, I'll tell you guys a story about frequency. The person with the highest frequency wins. Okay, so let me just... In mental alchemy, you shift your beliefs that your reality is already here and it will come. And that's a fact. And it's been a fact for thousands of years. Now, when you use subliminal images, you bypass your conscious mind, go straight into unconscious. You don't have to do the tricks with your mind. You don't have to convince yourself. The convincing will happen on its own. There's a few other conscious tricks you have to have in there while you're doing it. That's pretty much it. Now, I'm going to explain to you how exactly this is negative and how this changes your frequency. So what is in your unconscious mind is what you believe. What you believe is your frequency, okay? Now imagine lots of red squares together, blue squares, just in physics, red squares, green squares. Automatically, the red squares will want to gravitate to each other, the blue will gravitate to each other. And over time, they will just be, because everything in the universe wants wholeness, unity, including your psyche, okay? So, I got a story about my father. My father is kind of super intelligent and autistic kidogo, just a little bit. And all he thinks about day and night is houses, 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 houses. So his frequency attached to houses is really high. He loves houses. Now they were going to go to this house and buy, and there was many people interested in this beautiful house. So everybody did a blind bet or put money on the table. So you just say this amount of million, this amount of million, and the person with the highest amount of million wins. And nobody knew what the other were betting. So my father bet 100 kroner over the second competitor. And the third competitor was like $1 million difference. It's insanely close. But the truth is, when you really zoom out, you get to understand that everything is frequency, and the highest frequency wins. The person with the frequency, most like the house frequency, will just win. It just happens. And when you get this and when you do this, you'll see it over and over again. So let's say some rich genius, wants to give some money to some random person. Well, the person with the highest money frequency will get it. Now, there's a couple other tricks. If you want something a lot, you're kind of telling your unconscious that you don't want it, and so on. And how you formulate it, there's some trickiness to it, and how you do it exactly. I will teach that. I can teach that. You can also try to do it on your own. Do subliminal images, but I have to warn you. And listen to this part, even though you're wanting to do this stuff, because also I feel terrible about myself. Changing yourself is a very uncomfortable thing. It's not uncomfortable, but it is a type of selling your soul, but not really. You're not selling your soul at all, and it will come back. That's not true. It's not at all that. That's probably wrong. That's a terrible formulation, actually. It's more like a little part of you dies. I heard a guy, Sergey, he did this, and he basically said he's super successful now. He said, there's a thing about it, it's actually sad because it's like the real you dies because you have to become the new rich, successful you for it to manifest, and then you have it, but then the old one dies. That's what I gotta warn you about. But if you don't give a fuck about this, I will lead you to the river. It's up to you if you want to drink of it. So yeah, you can DM me if you're interested in this. My other page is Curious and Crazy. There you can see, millions of followers and everything. So it's all true. I did that, and I can teach it to you for a good amount of money, and we can do it where it'll be effective and healthy, and you'll avoid the consequences and so on. I'll teach you everything I know. God bless you. You can do it on businesses, with your business. You can do it with anything. Literally anything your mind can think of. So God bless everybody. Mental alchemy on steroids, using modern day technology to bypass the critical factor. That's pretty much it. God bless everybody. Jesus Almighty Christ is King.